And now they can hear me.
Oh, goody.
Mike, is it a PNG file?
No, it was a JPEG.
No, JPEGs aren't transparent, homie.
It doesn't need to be transparent. Oh.
Yes, it does.
I see now.
All right, let's them.
Don't call me homie.
Okay, sorry. Didn't know it was gonna be so sensitive.
That's right.
All right. I can set it up so that if you update it, it'll work. No, I can't. Can I? I don't know. Here, I'm just gonna turn it off for now. We'll have to fix it next time. Okay. All right, everybody. Sorry about that. My Wi-Fi adapter just completely shit the bed, so I had to uninstall it and reinstall it. Could all be done in a bit, okay? Yeah.
Don't ever call me a homie, apparently. I don't know why that upset me.
You need a Reese's Pieces? There's no more? Oh, no. Okay. All right, hang on. All right, kiddo. You know what? I'll be able to get you one from the store when I'm done doing this, okay? All right, let's hang on. Let me turn on. Yeah, kiddo? All right, hang on. Hey, go play, and I'll be done in a bit. Let me get this kiddo set up, everybody, and then we'll get started.
Yeah, go do that, because I'm uploading the transparent PNG one, so you don't yell at me anymore. Maybe Dick Turbo will be unbanned by the time you're back. Okay. I'm gonna fix this next Dick Turbo. I can't fix it. I can't report him. I can't block him. Dick Turbo, come back. Oh no, it's just me and you guys again. Here we go.
Okay.
Hey, I put the new picture up.
Oh, okay.
Also, are we low? Somebody said we're low.
Yeah,
I don't know if they actually
you're
are.
low. You're low. All right, talk now.
I'm talking. That
should be good.
All right. They'll tell us if it's not. Hey, Nick Turbo's back. Oh my God. I'm so relieved. I felt so. Nick Turbo, I'm sorry. What you said was awful, though, and you should feel bad. But
let me check this out. Let me look at stream elements and see what it looks like.
Is Mike a little desynced? They're asking.
Yeah, his video and audio might be a little desynced, and I just don't know what to do about that at this time, and I apologize for that, everybody. We'll figure something out. Normally, it sort of sorts itself out over a little bit if we wait a little bit.
Oh wow! Wait, where's that timeout channel? Oh, I can't time him out anymore. He's a mod now. That was Inner Light from TNG. That's what I'm doing.
Did I just not update this properly? Oh, I didn't. Okay. I know what I did.
Don't worry, Jeff. I'm holding down the fort here.
I can tell. Are you sure that it's transparent now?
It should be now. I mean, I uploaded a new using the old one. I didn't like replace it or anything.
Let's see here. Okay.
Why don't I just give it to you on thing and you can
that's fair. Okay. Okay, so I just I dropped the image, but all the other stuff should work. So
that's the wrong one.
still got some stuff. So if you do super chats now, I think you'll get a heart from Mikey automatically. It just pops up.
I don't have to work for it anymore. Finally.
Yeah, he was working too hard. We couldn't have that. All right, everybody. I know we've made you wait a long time now. We're gonna get started. Let me just.
I apologize for nothing.
Yeah, really. This. I mean, it is all his fault. He messed up everything here. God.
I sent you the real thing now.
Okay. Well, I'm okay. You know what?
We could just use this one this week.
We'll just use this one this time. Yes. What did I need? I want to record on Zencaster.
So we're going to be doing the super chats a little differently right now. I'm gonna say them all in the middle and then at the end to make sure we get everything. But we don't want to keep interrupting the flow of the podcast with them anymore. We still appreciate you guys all very much, but it's just some feedback we've been getting.
Yeah. Well, I think what we'll do is like Mike said, we'll have a section and we'll try to read all of them then. And I don't think we need to necessarily call out how much it was as well. People don't like that. If you're doing super chats and you want us to call how much you've spent, let us know. But I think for the most part, we could probably just read the super chats and just say it was a super chat. Does that work for you, Mikey?
No, but I'll do it anyway because I'm a good sport.
He's a little desynced, isn't he?
But thank you, Basement Radio, Nick Turbo, before we start here. That's very nice.
All right. You know what? We're going to go for it. We're gonna go for it. Okay. All right, Mike. You ready?
Yes, sir.
All right, you know what? Let me turn off this last thing here. Okay, I'm ready. Let's do this thing. 5, 4. That's the wrong music. It's the wrong music, Mike.
Say, you're a mess. I'd have you review one game that's bad, and you just fall apart this week.
Listen, Balan Wonderworld has completely destroyed my brain. Here we go.
I noticed.
I figured it out.
I'm very happy.
It's the internet. You're busy. Let's do this. Welcome to the GamesBeat Decides podcast. This is the podcast where we decide everything that's happening in video games so you don't ever have to think for yourself. I'm your host, Jeff Grubb.
I'm Mike Minotti, and I'm scared.
You should be scared, Mike Minotti. You made me play Balan Wonderworld. You did mean things to me, and I'm going to get my revenge in due time.
Getting revenge on everybody, apparently. Man, you're just a wrecking ball this week.
Apparently, yes. I am.
Look, I have to wear this PlayStation shirt now because apparently you're a well-known Xbox fanboy, so I have to bring some balance to the proceedings. I got yelled at about Balance Wonderworld.
I got yelled at by Xbox fanboys today for writing a headline that said PlayStation 5 is factually the fastest-selling console through 5 months. Apparently that's a fanboy thing to do as well. So get it from all sides.
Of the sales data.
Just facts, Mike. People can't handle them. All right, we're going to get into this show. We have news. We have games. We got the March NPD report. We're going to get into all that. First, though, thank you for joining us. You can get more from Mike and me at GamesBeat.com. If you have something to share with us, you can get us on Twitter at GamesBeat or email us at gamespluspodcast@venturebeat.com. That's the plus sign. Thank you to Carlos Ayin, who is Insane in the Rain Music on YouTube for the use of our theme song. If you are listening to this on the website player widget, if you're watching on YouTube, there's an audio version of the show you can go and subscribe to. Please go check that out. Subscribe, leave a review on those platforms. And while you're here on YouTube, give us a thumbs up. It really helps people find the show, especially while we're live, apparently. Join the Discord. The link is in the description. It's free. Come hang out with us. We got a good community going there. It's a lot of fun. People are always talking about all kinds of stuff. Mostly this week talking about me and David Jaffe apparently fighting, even though I was just kind of mostly just joking around. But
I think I made peace with Jaffe. Jaffe was only upset at you because you blocked him first. I don't know why he cares if you blocked him. You can block him. It's
what he says. He says that. Sure, I believe that.
I don't. Yeah. Okay. Sure. I know. Look, I'm not interested in getting into weird Twitter beefs with people who made Twisted Metal. You know.
And then support the show by going to patreon.com/Jeff Grubb. If you do that, there's some secret channels in the Discord you can get into. Come hang out with us, talk about industry secrets and stuff like that. You could also be a podcast producer, though, and that's where we get our feedback from, where people say, hey, maybe do less of this, do more of that sort of thing. You could do that there. All right, Mike, we got some news to talk about, but I guess, how are you doing?
I'm fine. How are you doing? You all right there, buddy?
It's weird. I'm like, no one's noticing this. And then all of a sudden everyone's like, hey, you're fighting with everybody. I'm like, oh, I am, I guess. So mostly it is Reset Era was just
Reset. Yeah, Reset Era is ridiculous.
Is ridiculous.
Message boards are bad.
Yes,
Message boards are 2021. I don't know.
Yeah, they are really just not handling things very well. Just unable to process information in a way that seems mature and like sane. So like, yeah, just I wrote an article saying, hey, I think Jim Ryan could be better at marketing, and here's how I'm going to lay out that argument. And I think it matters. It's not the end of the world, but here's how he could tell a better story and why he should. And boy, they just didn't want to hear that at all.
They were acting like you wrote this at a vacuum, as if people haven't been talking about Jim Ryan and PlayStation nonstop since that Bloomberg story. Like, they're like, he's just pulling things out of thin air. Then they got really upset because you said that, like, PlayStation doesn't care about indies as much as they used to, which is demonstrably true. And you even went in and edited a bit because
I wanted to clarify.
They said some things. I don't think you even needed to do that. It's fine that you did, but I don't know. But even like, I had no idea they disliked you so much. Even that first thing, it was like, oh, it's written by Jeff Grubb. Of course, it's a biased.
There's always
opinion.
Listen. I mean, we can all be honest, right? We could be honest. Reset Era it's a PlayStation fanboy forum. Like let's be real. It has been forever.
Is that what? Because I don't know. Because I've never been there.
Yes.
I wasn't even a NeoGaf guy, so I don't know. Did that happen?
Yes, absolutely. NeoGaf was always a PlayStation fan. Yeah, that was mostly it, and it definitely, like, you could tell it leans that way whenever something like this happens. If when I was posting stuff about like, oh, the PlayStation, here's when the PlayStation showcase is going to happen during last E3. And I got that date right, and I put it on Reset Era long before anyone else ever said anything. And there was never any problems with Jeff Grubb back then. They don't care. It was the only time they got mad at me is when I said the date might get delayed. I said the date for that showcase might move back a little bit, and then they were like, Jeff Grubb doesn't know what he's talking about. Oh my God, I hate this guy. They only want to hear the good news, especially about PlayStation. It's like, if you talk about anything else, then they forget. And there's definitely some people on Reset Era who are worse than others. And I do a good job of ignoring it. I mostly just don't even log in. I put 2-factor authentication on Reset Era, so I can't even log in unless I have my phone near me. So I'm like, most of the time, I'm not even checking it out at all. But then David Jaffe, yeah, he did an interview with a developer, someone who used to work on Days Gone, Ben, and then basically, and part of that interview was used again by PlayStation fanboys to say, hey, there's nothing wrong at PlayStation. All this stuff that Jason Schreier wrote about how like some developers are feeling upset, that's all a lie. We're going to use this interview as proof. And then the developer that was in the interview later came out and said, listen, I think Jason Schreier's reporting is fine. I'm like not allowed to say everything because I have like NDAs and stuff. And then Jason Schreier was like, see, this is like kind of why you should be, you shouldn't try like to debunk my stuff using this stuff. And then David Jaffe was like, get him. I'm going to attack Jason Schreier and call him little Jason Schreier and have this like weird thumbnail thing. And it was just embarrassing.
Right. So I mean, Jaffe's always been a very in-your-face, antagonistic kind of guy. I have a hard time understanding it. I remember there was that thing from Penny Arcade Report way back when it was what's Ben Kuchera doing that. And he was interviewing Jaffe, and Stephen Totilo like walked by, and like he had the audio of it because Ben was recording it, and like Jaffe just like beeline to go yell at Stephen Totilo about something Kotaku did, and was yelling at him about like because like, some new hire there, and I forget who it was. I know it was a woman, and they said something about Jaffe that he was I don't know if it was actually wrong, if he didn't like it. But Jaffe just kept going like, you made a bad hire and all this stuff. And it was weird. But yeah, look, I mean, I don't want to, I don't know what Jaffe's relevance is right now. I don't really know anything about him because
it wasn't personal.
I don't have any personal issues.
It wasn't personal. It was whatever. I was mostly just making a joke. I made a joke at the expense of Drawn to Death.
You made a joke.
Yeah, it was, and it, like,
which we should all make jokes about.
Bad game. Like, it's a bad game, and it was like his YouTube presence right now also seems bad. So I just made the little comparison. It's not the end of the world. We can all move on. If David Jaffe's mad at me, I understand. I think he seems like he's fine as well. Like, it's not like I hurt his feelings all that much. So he seems to be moving on with it as well. I think we all can.
But what is this thing with the youth of America? Where did this come from?
Listen,
man,
the young must pay is mostly my feeling on the matter.
That was that tweet. You had that tweet which was funny because the tweet was defending Sony's whole, like, you were the one person defending them for making a Last of Us remake.
Yes.
You Xbox fanboy, you. But
Yeah. Yeah,
but it was a bad tweet because we shouldn't defend that because that's I hate that.
right.
But
That's
also
what I was going to ask you because
you were like talking about like 25-year-olds don't know what The Last of Us is and they don't know what BioShock was or something.
right. Okay, very much a joke. This was like yes, a joke. Of course, 25-year-olds know what The Last of Us is. But it was like the joke was like, oh, you know, they don't. You meet a 25-year-old that doesn't know what Mass Effect is, so maybe remaking The Last of Us makes sense. And the point is that like games go by really fast. The youth come out of nowhere and suddenly like they like mention a game they don't know. And really I was thinking like they don't know Shovel Knight, but I can't say Shovel Knight. Of course, like a lot of like people just weren't paying attention when they were in college to indie games or whatever. And so now that they're a little bit older, they don't know what Shovel Knight is. That's like that makes sense. But I'm like, you like the reason you want to keep remaking these games if you're one of these big companies, if you're going to focus so hard on The Last of Us that it's like one of 3 properties you're just going to keep remaking over and over or keep making sequels to, you have to keep it in the public consciousness. And so like, yeah, that makes some sense. And they should have done that with Mass Effect because it kind of seems like Mass Effect's relevance has waned. But it was mostly just like, mostly a joke. I was thinking about that in the back of my mind.
Now Blessing's coming after you with all these good burns. And look, if the joke is that you're old, then I'm old. And I don't like it, Jeff.
Listen, we might be old, but the point is that they're young and that's worse.
We've been the young kids of this industry forever, I thought. Now all of a sudden... Dang it. Now we have gray in our beards and we're people on Reset Era are mad at us and what's going on?
Yeah, it really happened out of nowhere. I really felt like the young person for a very long time, and it's like, man, 2 years till 40 is not young anymore, apparently. So I guess that's fair. I don't know. I'll get my revenge on these kids eventually. We'll
no, God, we gotta get you a Snickers or something. Gotta calm you down.
Yes, next week I'm gonna have a chill week. I'm gonna meditate. Right. It's gonna be great. I'm not gonna bother anybody. Everyone's gonna love me again.
Yeah, that's right. David Jaffe's gonna be like, actually, he can block me all he wants.
Yes, exactly.
It's fine. You know what? I'm gonna make a new Twisted Metal. It's gonna be good this time.
Yeah. Sure, well, Dave. Sure, Dave.
He's made me.
Yeah. Good luck with that, Dave. All right. Should we?
all right. Let's move on.
Woo! All right, let's get into some news.
I made my peace with him. This is between you and Jeff. That's you and Jeffy now.
Love you, Dave.
I am not a part of that. I am not defending you anymore. I tried to, and it backfired. I'm done. I'm done.
Right. Okay, yes. Calling All Cars, #1 game. All right, let's get into the news. It
wasn't a bad game, to be fair.
I mean, sure, yeah. All right.
What? Move on, for real. Okay. You're done. Look at me. We're barely started the show, and I'm already more than halfway out of my Canada Dry zero sugar. I'm not gonna make it.
All right, let's do the news then. All right, I don't have. I'm like thinking like, oh, do I have a news music bumper? I definitely don't have that. We haven't done that in a long time. We could just start talking about it. All right.
Wow, you're a mess.
Listen, it's been a week. All right, let's just do this thing. Call of Duty was the #1 best-selling game of the month.
Of course it was. I mean, that's not shocking. What's shocking is that the last Call of Duty was still at number 11.
Yeah, yes, it's still on the chart.
How does that, like, how does that happen? Like, how many people are like, yeah, I obviously I'm buying the new Call of Duty, but I also still need the one from last year that is mildly outdated now. Like, I'm sure it's not that outdated, but man.
I mean, I don't think that's what it is. I think it's, you look at the rest of the chart, right? So let's talk about this. Okay, so Monster Hunter Rise, the new Switch one, #2, Outriders #3. We'll talk about these other ones in a second. But to Mike's point, stuff like Mario 3D World, #4. But then you get Miles Morales, 5. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe at 6. Assassin's Creed Valhalla at 7. Animal Crossing at 8, 3D All-Stars at 9, Minecraft at 10. A lot of these games are games that like have been here for a long time, and people are clearly just buying them because they're getting new hardware. So you buy a PS5, you buy an Xbox Series X, and you're looking around like you want to buy a game, and sure, that new Call of Duty is there, but also the old Call of Duty is there. Maybe it's a little bit cheaper, and maybe your friends actually prefer that one, so you buy that one instead. I think that's what it is for sure.
Yeah.
I guess, let me ask you, what else stands out on this list?
Well, I always love bringing up Spider-Man still being on here because
you're absolutely right about that
way
one.
back because you said way back when that you thought it was a good sell as well as the last one. But yeah,
I
so
don't think
this
I
is number
put
5.
it like that,
You
Mike.
didn't put it like that,
You're
but
gonna
you
get reset error mad at me.
expressed concern. You expressed concern.
I just said it. Yes, you're right. Go ahead.
Okay, Outriders number 3 is pretty good for a game that a lot of people are playing without buying it, right?
Yes.
I was really happy that Crash Bandicoot got a bit of a bump from coming out on Switch, and was that also on PC or something, or some other new platform? I forget.
What game was it? I'm sorry, my kid is yelling at me again.
Crash Bandicoot.
I think did it come out on PC? I feel like it only came out on Switch, but I must be wrong about that.
Was Switch the only new platform? Well, I'm sure Switch was the most important one.
Yes, I'm sure that made the biggest difference.
So,
yeah.
Right. So yeah, those are the things that stand out. I mean, Super Mario 3D World, very good hold, and also Mario 3D All Stars at 9 got a bit of a bump since it was its last month.
Right. Yes, absolutely. I think notable because for the new games, Rise and Outriders both came out late in the month, right? So late in the reporting period. Usually in months like March, the first couple of days of the next month actually count and stuff like that. So, but you know, to land that high with just a couple of days, it shows that there's a lot of enthusiasm for these titles. Mostly, I think it's just any big new game that has any buzz is probably going to get a lot of buzz because people are just so hungry for new games right now. So
right. Yeah, Monster Hunter Rise was the second fastest selling Monster Hunter game, just behind World, and World was out on more platforms, so maybe that helped it there. I don't know, but
yeah,
Rise is obviously doing very well.
Yes, absolutely. So then we also had the hardware. Hardware hit a March record of $680 million, with the Switch being the top selling hardware for the month. And the Switch also led the quarter in terms of unit sales. PlayStation 5 meanwhile led in terms of dollar sales. Of course, the PlayStation 5 very supply limited, but it costs $500. So that's where that makes up that difference there. PS5 is also the fastest selling console through the first 5 months in U.S. history.
Well, I thought that you said that the PlayStation was in trouble. What?
Yeah, I know, right? God.
I know I saw a picture of you holding an Xbox with
oh God, yeah, they always they love to bring up that picture.
They always post that. They always post, yeah, that's a very serious picture.
And I would have done the same thing with the PS5. Sony didn't send me one, so apparently they agree.
Well, because they sent us one, and I got
they sent
it.
You one, yeah.
Oh, because they know I'm not going to have a Twitter meltdown about it a year later.
All right. Yeah, I see what you're doing. Yeah, I don't know. This is a good month. It's a good month for game sales. I think that these gaps where it feels like there's nothing coming out, and yet, of course, the big games do come out and they sell immediately very well. Just a sign that, again, people are very hungry for this stuff. I think, but like even more to that point, accessory sales also hit another March record of 300 million. So people are like investing in these platforms a lot right now. They're buying the games, of course. They're going out and buying the hardware, but then they're buying like extra controllers and headsets and things that you buy because you foresee yourself using this hardware a lot in the future. So you feel good about spending a lot of money. So clearly people are just like, they're into video games for the long haul. I guess, final point about this is we finally have a March or a month compared, year over year comparison to beginning of the pandemic. The pandemic began in March in the United States, and I know it was like late that month, but it was like we're starting to get a more even comparison to like people staying at home and spending a lot more money on video games, and yet the industry was still up, year over year. And I feel like March had like more bigger, there was Animal Crossing.
March had Animal Crossing. It was huge.
Right. So the fact that it's over like year over year compared to that is massive. I think
it's impressive.
So,
and I'm sure the new consoles are helping a little bit there.
Correct. Yes. Okay. I don't know. Anything else to say about NPDs or?
No, we can move on.
All right. Let's do Resident Evil Showcase. Mike, the big lady sucks blood.
Oh yeah, of course she does.
It was very suggestive.
I'm sure she's just going to do nothing but allude to fetishes throughout that entire game.
They told us her shoe size, so I think you might be onto something, Mike.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is from the Resident Evil Showcase. This was pretty good, I thought. I'm like, I go back and forth on Resident Evil. Like the Resident Evil 7 seemed too scary for me, so I didn't even try it. This game looks like it's like sort of slightly more campy and fun, so I might try it. Like I love Resident Evil 4, and I played I think I played most of the other ones at this point, especially as remakes. But I'm getting excited for this one. It looked good. Did you check this out at all?
No, I didn't. I'm a coward, so I assume that I'm not going to play this, I guess. But maybe it will be a bit more campy and fun, like you said, and I can get into it. Like I played 7 at a E3 thing, and that was enough for me to know that I'm a coward. So,
My revenge. You could play this. You could play this. Mike, play
oh my
this
god,
on
oh
stream.
my,
Alan Wonderworld,
all
Mike.
right. I know, I owe you. You're right. All right, all right. If I'm streaming and people are digitally holding my hand, maybe it'll be okay.
Yeah, maybe it'll be fun.
Yeah, I'm not doing it in VR though, and that's for sure.
Yeah, and I wouldn't be able to do that either. I don't blame you.
Speaking of VR,
What's that?
speaking of VR, I was
Speaking
about
of-
to transition, but it
Yeah,
seems
you
like
did
you
a good
still wanted
job,
to
and
say
then
something else.
I just missed
Then
it.
you ruined it.
Resident Evil 4 is coming to Oculus Quest 2, and I was people seemed excited about this, and for me, I'm just like, I just wanted the remake. I wanted a Resident Evil 4 remake. Even though the game barely needs a remake, I still wanted it.
Yeah, I don't know. I want the remake. I'm not going to play it in VR, so I have no strong feelings about this. I'm sure it'll be fun for the people who like the VR thing.
Yeah,
I'm almost happy because to me that reads they're not doing a remake, and maybe they'll do Code Veronica or something else instead. I don't know. It still has to happen at some point.
Yeah, eventually, but it would be nice if they did Code Veronica first, because that feels like more likely if they do Resident Evil 4, they might just skip over Code Veronica and never do it. Oculus Quest 2 is the exclusive home, though, for Resident Evil 4 and VR. Not coming to anything else, not even Oculus Quest 1, not going to be on PC, not PSVR. I wonder if like Resident Evil 4 VR popped up in that one sort of window where Sony was like, oh, we're going to hold off on VR for like a couple of months. And now they're like, they seem like they're ramping back up. But like a game like this definitely would have been a PSVR thing, right?
Maybe they're ramping up because they learned that things like Resident Evil 4 VR were like they weren't going to get that, and it was happening.
Yeah. And then there's a Resident Evil Village demo out this weekend. So I might actually try that. I want to like dip my toe in the water and see how I feel about it. And then big lady, Mike, she sucks blood.
She sure does. What there's Mercenaries mode is coming back. No, people are excited. There's another anime. Every game's getting a Netflix fake anime, or is it a real anime this time? I don't even know.
Mike, I feel like you're asking me to tell you the difference between real and fake anime, and you're asking the wrong person.
Well, there's like Castlevania and Avatar: Last Ember. That's fake anime, right?
Okay,
right?
yeah,
It's
if
like a
it's,
real
made
anime
in
would
America,
be like One
cheap American
Piece.
knockoffs. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I think that it must be fake. I guess I don't know. Isn't it?
I guess it
3D
literally
rendered?
just depends on if it's being made in Japan or not.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Yes,
it's the champagne versus like bubbling wine or sparkling wine or whatever.
I mean, it's everything's anime, really. Anyway, so
yeah. Everything is absolutely. I think that's what we've discovered over the last couple of years. Is everything's anime. Mike, there was a Nintendo Indie World showcase this week, and
that was this week.
that was this week. You did our sort of roundup of it, and I'll say what stood out to me was mostly the absence of Silk Song and Sports Story, but I still thought it was a pretty good indie showcase. Otherwise.
Yes, it was. I mean, they have to know that every time they're doing one of these things, people are really looking forward to Silk Song, and
yes,
it is getting to a point where like what is going on there? Are they saving it so that because it's either they're saving it so they can do another Shadow Drop again, because the Shadow Drop for Hollow Knight on Switch did very well, so maybe that's what they're thinking is we're just going to announce this when it's literally going to come out and it'll be a big hit again, or maybe like it's weird. It's like, is something wrong? Because it's hard to imagine there would be.
Yeah.
But I mean, this game was playable at E3 2019. I played it there. So you think, you just keep working on that. I'm not saying it should be out by now, but there should be an update or a release date. It's a little weird, especially when they know everybody is kind of like, waiting for it.
Yeah, this is one of those games that has the luxury of its first game sold so well that this team is going to have as much time as they want, and it seems like they're taking all that time. And I mean, I'm sure there is like developer side wisdom to why you get so quiet for so long in situations like this. Why it is better to just shut up and say nothing. And I think for all of us, it's just like, yeah, you could just communicate with us. But I guess maybe they foresee if they do that, things going wrong, and maybe like it spoils the ramp up to when, like you said, like when they do release it if it's ready to go and they just announce it at the same time and just it explodes, maybe they want that pop. And I totally get that.
If we don't hear about it at E3 now, it will be weird, I think.
Yeah, I agree. I think
maybe it's too big for an indie showcase, right? At this point, maybe
Yes.
it's got to be part of the actual like E3 event.
I mean, like if Hades 2 was coming, Nintendo would absolutely want to put that in an E3 because Nintendo loves Hades. Hades sold super well on the Switch, and they would be like, "You're not going in any showcase. You are part of our like full Nintendo Direct." And I think that Hollow Knight and even maybe Sports Story might be in that same situation where Golf Story sold very well. And I think Nintendo would like kind of wants to not just reward them, but like sort of take ownership of these standout indie games, and I'm all for that.
Sure.
TMNT, we finally saw. We saw some more of that, and that also looks very good.
Yeah, that looks great. I did an interview with Emu, about a week or so ago, talking about that and a lot of their stuff, and so it was interesting. But yeah, that's gonna be fantastic. That looks so much fun.
Oxenfree 2. I didn't play Oxenfree, and I've been meaning to.
Not.
Yeah.
Not either. People like it, so here we go. Sequel time.
Yeah, it's like seems like a sort of a talky mystery sort of Stranger
It
Things
seems kind of talky, and that's I think me and you with the talkies.
Yes, not
I don't know.
Not up our alley necessarily. It doesn't mean not a judgment on the game, but probably not for us. It was on Game Pass a bunch. I don't know if it is right now. Maybe I'll check it out on Xbox again and give it a shot. There is no game Wrong Dimension. This is one I just wanted to shout out because there is no game. I think maybe Wrong Dimension is fantastic, and people should check it out now that it's on Switch.
Now, it's only touch controls, right? That's my understanding.
I don't know. I didn't. I think
I looked at it in the store, and I think it said that. I was like, because it was a mobile game first, you're saying, so that would make sense.
Mobile and PC, yeah, but it's like play with the mouse and stuff. So,
okay, well then.
It's like it is, and it makes sense because it's like sort of a UX sort of game where you are mostly interacting with the user interface and the user experience stuff, and then stuff sort of happens. But it's a delightful experience. If you want it and you see it on Switch, and you're like, oh, that might be a little bit too much. It is still like just $6 on mobile devices. So if you have an iPad or something, try it out on there. But either way, it is really fun. It's something fun to play with like kids because kids like sort of understand menus a lot because they play with tablets so much. My kids were like playing around with it a little bit, and when stuff would happen, it was just delighting them. And then the other one I wanted to call out was Aztec Forgotten Gods, which I just thought looked very cool. It's got a very cool future Mesopotamia vibe.
It's like a third person 3D action game, which is pretty neat. You don't just see a lot of indie games doing that.
Yep, absolutely. But yeah, I mean, and it was time for an indie world. I thought, I was like, we usually get these in March around GDC. So when this popped up, I was like, yeah, this is part of like the wild card thing I was expecting, except for, of course, not really a wild card because they always do something around this time. But I'm cool. They kept doing it. I thought there was a small chance they might just skip it over this year. But this to me shows that mostly Nintendo is expecting to be on a traditional path for announcements this year. And that is a good sign as well. I guess, do you think we hear anything else from Nintendo between now and E3?
I was just wondering that. I don't think so, but again, it's Nintendo. You never know.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, then let's talk about PS5. It now update that enables external cold storage for PS5 games, I believe. I actually didn't look into this too closely, but it seems like it now enables you to take your PS5 games off of internal storage and then store them, store them in the refrigerator on your external drive. And then if you want to play them again, you're gonna have to put them back on the internal, but you don't have to download them again. And you couldn't do this before, and now you can. And that seems good. I'm glad they're doing this.
Wait, what was that about a refrigerator?
Like you put it in the fridge. I guess you put it in the freezer in the garage. My metaphor is not going to be very good right now.
Wait, it literally uses refrigeration?
No,
cold
Mike.
storage? I thought that was just the name.
No, I hate you so much.
Are you joking? Are these jokes?
They're not jokes. They're metaphors. They're analogies. What are we doing here, Mike?
I don't understand.
I'm going to stop using the word refrigerator. So you just plug in your hard drive and you put it on the hard drive, and now you can put it back on the PS5 when it's time to play it. Cold storage, whatever. The point is that they got a nice feature that should have been there at the start.
I was always wondering why it was called cold storage. I just didn't know they actually put it in a fridge.
They don't. Okay, yes, Mike. They put it in a fridge. Thank you for your help here on the news section. I really appreciate this. You know what?
Thank you for helping.
Moving on. Epic launched its early access to the MetaHuman creator tool. Mike, are you going to go make some people?
I did. I made us as little Mega Man people. I don't need fancy Epic Games tools. I have the pencil tool in Photoshop.
Yeah, I agree with Raymond in chat who says Mike needs a beer. We're recording these too early, Mike.
it was a bit early. Well, I told you I was gonna run out of my Canada Dry Zero Sugar, and it was gonna be bad. I warned you about this.
All right, last couple of stories. Let's get through these. New IO Interactive studio in Barcelona that's going to help on the 007 project. That's good. Bend is definitely not making Days Gone 2. I think Jason Schreier reconfirmed that, but yeah, yes, obviously. And then Square is up for sale, or it isn't. Square Enix. Let's talk about this one. What do you think, Mike?
Yeah, I'm scared. I don't know. Because Square Enix makes a lot of games I happen to like, and I don't like the idea of big change. It's funny how dismissive I was of Microsoft buying Bethesda. Not dismissive, but so everything's gonna be fine. Why are people upset? Blah blah. But now it's like a company I care more about maybe getting bought. I'm like, oh, I don't like that. I don't know. So I'm a hypocrite, is what I'm saying. But yeah, because there's only so many people who could afford it. Right, because it's a huge company with all these different divisions and teams and major franchises. So it's a small pool, and I'm not sure if I really want any of them owning Square Enix. I don't think it'll be good for Microsoft to own Square Enix. Tencent, I don't know. Maybe that's one of the least concerning ones, because Tencent will probably just throw a lot of money at it and own it, but maybe just let it go.
Maybe,
I don't know. It's weird. It seems weird. I mean, Sony's not going to buy it. There's no way Nintendo's going to buy it.
Yeah, I think that it's expensive. To be fair, Square Enix I think also came out today and addressed these and said this is not the case. But I mean, companies are always looking at buying everything. They're always looking at what we could buy. And so if conversations are happening, this is what we said like a long time ago, like about like Microsoft like acquiring or inquiring about like the Bungie price. It was never like going to turn into anything, almost certainly not. But someone did ask about a price. I said that. Eurogamer reported it as well. But it was always just the conversation was like, yeah, they're talking about maybe what if we did this? Like, what would that look like? Those kinds of conversations that you kind of just end up having when you have a lot of money and you're thinking about maybe spending it. And Tencent's in that situation. Microsoft's obviously still in that situation. I guess the laws in Japan about foreign investment have laxed a little bit in the last few years. So it wouldn't necessarily have to be a Japanese company. Sony right now, why would they buy it? Because except for to keep someone else to buy it, but like just to buy it because you want to buy it, like you're getting the milk for free there kind of right now. Like their deal with them is so tight knit that it's like, why would we do the effort to like go through and just buy it? But my hunch here is that this probably doesn't turn into anything. And if it does, I could see like, I guess Tencent does make the most sense just because Tencent would be able to like, okay, yeah, so we're just going to stand back and let you own it. But then we also own the IP so that we could leverage them in like film and stuff. And like Square's got a lot of IP that would be good in film, especially in China. But I don't know.
Yeah. Chat is suggesting Embracer Group, which there you go. That's a good fit. Embracer Group can buy
Square Enix is going to get embraced, man. Yep, it's about time.
Man, Embracer Group would have refused to publish Ballin's Wonderworld.
Yes, you're right. Okay, you know what? Why are we joking about this? Let's get Embracer in there and fix them up or something. No more the Quiet Man. No more Bell and Wonderworld.
It is incredible because like if they were in a quote unquote bad, it's not even a bad position to be sold, but if there's something that was impeding them, they do just have this weird tendency to release absolutely awful games that other companies of that size just don't seem to do.
They just don't like seem to do it. No.
You would not expect Capcom to release something as bad as Ball and Wonderworld. Like they're going to release some games that aren't great, or maybe they're bad, but they're not going to be like all-time stinkers.
No. Yeah. All right. Okay. Yeah. For this one, I'd like, let's take a wait and see. I haven't like asked any sources about this yet. I feel like if this was happening, especially if like Microsoft or Sony were involved, I think I would have heard about it by now. But I guess it's possible that it's like so early that it's like, oh, I just wouldn't hear about it. But to me, this seems like one that is in that same vein of people, of course, are always saying, how much would it cost to buy Square Enix? And well, that qualifies as someone's talking about buying Square Enix. And it's like, okay, but it's not going to necessarily turn into anything. And I think that's where we're at with this. And a few months from now, we'll look back and like, remember those things? Did that turn into anything? No. Okay, Mike. So I've got questions, and then you got a bunch of super chats. So I'm thinking maybe we could go back and forth and asking these. You know what? Why don't you start with a couple super chats if you're ready?
Yes, this is our super chats here. Raymond Mogos said somebody saved sleeping dogs, talking about that is Square Enix, isn't it? Huh?
Yes.
That is a big pile of shamer for me. I'll have to play that at some point.
I played a bit of
Jared
it.
Helder.
Yeah, it's really bad. I know it's being really bad again. I played a little bit of it. It was good. It was really good for its time. I bet it holds up pretty well though. I bet it's okay.
Jared Helder, I'd rather have new games announced than updates on games that I know are coming out. I choose patience in good developers, not Cyberpunk. Fair.
Yep, fair enough.
X Trash lost to PlayStation. Says, why is PlayStation 5 way better than X Trash sales and games? Okay. Thanks for your money.
Yep.
Mikkel Nygaard, do you think people will be happy with whatever is shown at E3 this summer, or are our expectations too high considering we are still in a pandemic? People are beginning to lower their expectations, but maybe not enough. I don't know.
Yeah, I know. I think people should lower their expectations. I agree with that. I think that's it could be disappointing. It could not be really bad. Who knows? There could be some surprises. I think these companies will try to put on some good shows, but there could be a chance where most of the stuff they talk about is stuff that we already knew about because they announced it before. And maybe that's inherently less exciting.
Yeah, for sure. Jimbo Janglis says Jeff Grubb looks like Kroger Jason Momoa, and I envy it.
Yep, that's fair.
Stephen Lamb asks, what's more annoying, those 25-year-olds or Balin?
Oh man, that's a tough one. Let's see. I'm gonna go with the 25-year-olds. Yeah, because they're not gonna go away. They're just gonna keep making more of them. So yeah, I'm the Balin.
Wow.
Or the 25-year-olds are way worse than Balin.
Well, they're gonna keep making Balins. What are you talking about? Balin World 2. That's gotta be getting announced soon, right?
They better not.
Faisal 007, I feel like I always say that wrong. Is it funny how he made bad jokes in fun of Phil hiring a voice actor to imitate Phil, and he gets mad when it is done to him? Gosh, what is he talking about now from 42 minutes ago?
Is it a Jaffe thing? I don't know.
It must be Jaffe. It is funny how he made bad jokes in fun of Phil hiring a voice actor to imitate Phil, and he gets mad when it is done to him. It must be a Jaffe thing.
Yeah, I guess I don't know. Give us some more info on that. We'll try to answer it better.
Nick Turbo says, I am 21 and I know what Mass Effect is, you boomer. Jeff,
okay.
We're not boomers. We're
Listen,
we're
if you're older than them, you're a
boomer.
Yeah, they don't want. That's not any better.
Oh, we're millennials. The boomers hate us.
Boomers do hate us more
Parents
than anybody.
For too long.
Yeah,
that's true. Raymond Mogos just sent a bunch of emojis, so thank you. George Lewis, is Sony buying anything? They're not buying Square Enix. Probably not. So I don't think they're buying anything.
Yeah, probably not. Not that I could think of. I mean, they might buy another studio the size of like not what's the one, not Naughty Dog, the other one, the infamous studio. I can never remember it.
Sucker Punch.
Yeah, something like that. Yes.
Jedi Moss 4 says, congrats to Jeff for surviving Balin's torture.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Power Man 4K, salutations. Hit the like button. Thank you. Basement Radio Arcade Podcast just said happy Friday to Grubb and Mike. Nick Turbo just said, Mike made me a mod. He gave me too much power. Ha ha ha. I didn't make you a mod. Jeff did to try to unban you after I banned you because he said Mega Man and Sonic were never good. Yeah, Low Rule Legend just wanted to ask us our opinion on Jaffe. I think we talked enough about Jaffe.
Love him
because I feel like Jaffe's. I'm worried he's one of those guys that like he just knows whenever people are going to talk about him and he's going to say something and
he's definitely showed up in the chat. the
this
chat of
quagmire.
podcast I guested on. I was like guesting, and suddenly there was Jeffy in the chat. I'm like, oh, okay,
Uh,
weird. Yeah.
Rocker Corey just sent $2. Thoughts on how GP Game Pass impacted Outrider sales, Xbox versus PlayStation? I mean, you assume not too many people would buy it on Xbox. It was number 3 for the month, anyways, right? Like it still sold really well.
It was
So it
also
didn't
the
seem to
number
hurt.
3 best selling game on PlayStation and Xbox. Like, so like on Xbox, it was the number 3 best
Oh
selling
wow,
game. So what the hell? Yeah, it only helped. It only helped. It seems
yeah.
like.
There's still a lot of people just like don't know that they could get Game Pass.
I think so. Yeah, I think a lot of people don't know, and I'm sorry about the buffering. Still, everybody, we're just gonna have to like get through it. But yeah, I think a lot of people just don't know.
All right, what do you got? That's all our super chat.
From Low Rule, do you think Sony needs to make a Game Pass equivalent or ignore the recent trend? Excuse me, and stick to high quality games. I think for the most part that they need to just stick to high quality games, because competing beat for beat with Game Pass is going to be really challenging. That's going to be really expensive. I think Sony doesn't need to try to do exactly what Microsoft is doing. I think Sony needs to come up with the creative next thing, come up with creative solutions to their challenges. I don't think they should turtle and just only really focus on their biggest games. I think they should find the next thing, try to come up with something disruptive as well. And they have time to do that. They have time to do that because the PS5 is selling great and the games are doing great. And hopefully they'll figure that out. What do you think, Mike?
I think I just noticed that you tried to fix the name of this episode to GamesBeat Decides 192, and you changed it to 1912.
I did.
You,
oh my god.
We are all having a week.
Yeah, it's a bad one, everybody.
It's great stuff.
Episode
Look at that, yeah.
1912.
Decides what they do.
All right, I'm fixing that. I fixed it. You can't. No
We've
one.
been
No one
it
has to know
feels like
anything.
we've been doing that for this long.
Yeah.
I mean, so the thing is, if they do their own Game Pass, then you're going to have to start fighting with Microsoft for the deals on which game, what games are you going to get for your service, right? And if it becomes a bidding war, you're going to lose to Microsoft a lot, probably, right? So
Yeah, I think so.
I don't know. I mean, like, we might get to a point where everyone is going to need to have their own Game Pass equivalent. Then, of course, they are going to, and they might have to jump on it sooner. I still think the thing that they can do to really combat Microsoft is to take better advantage of that back catalog, all those PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2, PlayStation 3, PlayStation 4 games. Like that seems to be the obvious answer to me in terms of combating it in a way that won't maybe depend so much on going like directly against Game Pass.
Yeah, I agree. Let's see. This one's from I'm gonna work backwards from the ones we got today. So this one's from Schaefer. Jeff, are you feeling okay? You're so confrontational lately. Have you considered relaxing outside in the nice weather? With like reading a book or something? Listen, this is for show. Most of this is just I'm putting on airs.
He's not okay.
It's not okay. Yeah. We've like completely lost the feed to Twitch. So or to YouTube. Sorry about that, everybody.
No, I said you're not okay.
No, I'm not okay.
I'm not talking about YouTube. You're not okay.
No, but I am also, yes. No, I'm not okay. I'm growing very old. I've got lots of gray hairs. I got 2 kids screaming at me nonstop, and I Mike Minotti. He makes me play Balan Wonderworld. There's a lot of things to not be okay. So yeah, no, I'm fine. I'll be fine. All right, from Raymo Ghost. Hey guys, any chance we see another revival of the Guitar Hero franchise soon? Mike, I doubt it. What do you think?
I also doubt it. I mean, I'm sure at some point we're going to return to that well again. I think it's a bit early. Because there was a reboot on the last gen and it didn't take at all. So, I mean, when they rebooted it, so the last one tried to like redo how the guitar controller worked and everything. When they reboot it again, it'll be like back to basics. It'll just be a game that comes with a guitar and it's going to have, the very basic note highway and the 5 buttons. And maybe there will be something to that. I don't know, but not anytime soon.
Yeah, I agree. This one's from Jake Bogdanoff. Would Mario Kart Tour count as Mario Kart 9? And then they make the next Mario Kart X, as in Mario Kart 10.
No, it doesn't. I mean, it's like the arcade games, right? They don't count those in the numbering, and those are closer to being real Mario Kart games than Tour is. I wouldn't be shocked that they don't call it Mario Kart 9. We know that these companies hate the number 9 for whatever reason. So maybe it won't be called Mario Kart 9, but it's not going to be called like even if it was called Mario Kart X, it won't be because of Mario Kart Tour.
Right. Yes. Um, Benji Bob asks, "Happy Friday, you industry MFers." That was another one that industry MFer. I can't even remember what that was referencing now. Too. I remember someone saying it to me. I don't remember what it was about. Ignoring the AAA blockbuster first-party games, what do you think is one aspect of the PlayStation platform that will pay off by the end of this console generation? DualSense, VR2. Just trying to be a little positive this week. Thanks as always. What do you think, Mike?
Man, I was so high on DualSense because Astrobot used it so amazingly, and like I'm almost cooling on it because no one else has come close to using it nearly as well. So it's almost disheartening. Maybe when I expect that the Ratchet and Clank game is going to use DualSense in a really neat way. I'm almost like I'm curious about how MLB The Show is going to use it because that seems like it would be a good fit. But I think like everyone else, I'm just going to play that on Xbox because it's part of my Game Pass there. So I won't know. But man, I don't know. I don't know. It seems like big games is the thing right now. I keep again. I said before. I keep waiting to see a better leverage of the classic library. That's what would excite me. What do you think, Jeff? Help me out here. I got nothing. I want to join this guy in his positivity, but I'm not helping.
And that's kind of how I feel. Like, listen, I think those big AAA blockbusters are worth being positive about on their own. I think Sony thinks that. I think that's why they are doubling down on the thing that worked. I think, and this was like in that story. This was like a big part of the story. It is very easy to focus on the negative with Sony because everyone fully understands the positives. We all know what Sony does well. And when Sony says we're going to keep doing that and even bigger and even better, first of all, you go like, man, that sounds risky. So I get a little bit worried about that. But it seems like you guys know what you're doing. You know how to make those games. So I have confidence about that. But also, like just saying Sony's going to keep making giant first-party AAA blockbuster games gets stale after a while. So we do focus on all the negatives. It's a little unfair, but that's just the way like reporting on news works. It's called news, not olds. But like, I'm sorry, Mike. It's one of those weeks where we got to just get through this, man. Listen. I think that if I'm looking for positives out of PlayStation, I think it's mostly that even with this focus on AAA. They are making their services really work for them. The PlayStation Plus is, I think, a success. I think people seem to like PlayStation Plus. They've only made it better. And the idea that they're going to continue having this like regular revenue stream coming in and finding new ways to like make it valuable to people and deliver on that so that people can feel good about continuing their subscription. I think by the end of this generation, people look back and say, hey, Sony didn't do Game Pass, but PlayStation Plus was a different thing. And I'm just as happy that I had that. And I think there's a good chance we'll end up in that situation. Let's see. I've got 3 other questions from today and a couple others from this week, Mike. Do you want to pause and then do a couple of these super chats and then we'll come back and finish these questions?
Yeah, sure. So Jacob Jones did ask, "Where's Cuphead DLC at?" Huh? That's probably something we'll see at E3, right?
Yeah, I agree. I'm hopeful for it, but yeah. I think it's just like all the other ones that we mentioned, all these other indie games that are sort of in the same situation where we're gonna get it, and then it's been a long time since we heard about it. So hopefully E3 seems like the right time for all those. I wonder, like, do indies have are they going to have like the space to breathe at an E3? I guess if that's what they're holding off for. I mean,
even
so.
the mega E3, the mega indies will, right? Like Cuphead, like Hollow Knight. But yeah, aside from that, I don't know. Jedi Moss 4, with Outrider's success on the sales chart, do you think this encourages more major third-party games getting on Game Pass day one? Yeah, I think it does.
Yep, I think it's only yes. I think if this was like part of the experiment to say, let's see how this does, and then we'll put some of our other games on there. Or, hey, Microsoft, should we do this? Like, what do you guys think is going to happen? Well, we're doing it with Outriders. If you want to say, wait and see what's going to happen with that, let's check. We'll show you. We'll give you all the data and let you know if it was a good thing. To me, this seems like an unmitigated success. Like there is nothing that was bad about this if you are the company publishing Outriders. So I expect to see a lot more of it.
Mm-hmm. Stephen Lamb, if Nick Turbo bans me for saying his take on Mega Man Sonic being bad is a bad take, will you unban me? Because Nick Turbo's take is bad. It was a bad take. I clearly don't know how to unban people, so I guess Jeff would have to make you a mod, is what would happen. But don't worry, Nick, you're not allowed to ban him. Don't abuse your new powers. George Lewis, I saw an article that said FIFA 22 and Madden 22 will be day one on Game Pass. Thoughts?
I, that seems like in the realm of possibility. I think focus on sports games is a very. I've said this a long time ago. Focus on sports games for Game Pass is a really smart move. That's an audience buys games every year, and they would probably be open to a subscription model. I think it makes sense. I mean, MLB is out in what, 4 days, and we'll see how that goes. I bet that's going to also be 3 days. Yeah, it's going to be a huge success as well, and then they'll take it from there and see if it's worth it.
Yeah, we got one more that just came in from Robbie Madison. Can we expect Microsoft to revive other IP that excites gamers like Conquer or Lost Odyssey? Perfect Dark and Killer Instinct are cool, but yeah, thanks guys. Lost Odyssey seems like a stretch. I am afraid to say. I mean, I don't even know what this. I don't think Microsoft owns it. I think Sakaguchi owns that. I think he might own that. But if Microsoft does own it, I don't think they're that much interest. Conquer, I don't know. They've always like kind of done things with Conquer. Like Conquer was in that. What was their game called where you can make games that was kind of like Dreams? Like they had a Conquer set.
Project Spark.
Project Spark, right? Wow. So he showed up in that. Yeah, I don't know. Conquer more likely than Lost Odyssey, but in terms of just like other IP that excites gamers, I still think like at some point they're gonna be like, "Hey, Crimson Skies is a neat idea for a game. Why don't we just do that again?" But in terms of like a Blinks the Time Cat, probably not coming back, right? I mean, what else is there?
Probably not. No.
What else is there? If they made another Fusion Frenzy, that would be kind of interesting. People like that.
They could have fun with something like that too. Yeah, they could like make that like a big deal. We're bringing back Fusion Frenzy, and we're gonna like make it a really wild party game and like incorporate some cloud stuff, so it's like almost like maybe make it a mashup between Fusion Frenzy and 1 versus 100. Find some way to do that. I think that could be cool.
I am being told Microsoft does in fact own
Lost Odyssey.
Lost Odyssey, which is
what about Blue Dragon? Who owns Blue Dragon? Which one was better?
I think everybody thought that Lost Odyssey was better than Blue Dragon.
All right. Let's get back to this question. Before we get back to the questions, Mike, I fixed it, and you want to know how? There is a button on the Google Wi-Fi app that's like, "Hey, do you want to prioritize this thing while you're doing this thing?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'll press that button. That seems like a good thing when I'm doing the podcast." I turned it off. Everything started working.
My brother just had that issue the other yeah. So it does the opposite of what you think it would do.
I guess, which makes no sense. I think it's just broken. It must just be a bug, but whatever. That's very, very frustrating.
Well, we're back after all that.
We're back after all that.
Yeah, we got all our swagger back. Man, what a week.
Yeah, what a week. It was, you know what? It was the punishment I feel I deserved. And I'm going to be
I think this is absolutely karma. I 100% blame you.
I'm going to be a better person next week. Next week, I'm going to do things better.
No more fights with the young people or with like old industry vets that kind of weird us out now. No more of that.
Okay. On to another question from Jake Bogdanov. Do we usually have little to no idea what's coming out after July in a normal year? I feel like this is bizarre. Is it COVID, Cyberpunk, a game of chicken, or just a culmination of everything? Jake, I think you might be onto the answer there yourself.
It's mostly COVID, a little bit of Cyberpunk, mostly COVID.
Yeah. I think there are years where we definitely know a lot more. I guess most of the problem this year is like we knew some stuff that would be coming after July and before, next year. But now a lot of that stuff is coming out in 2022. And I think everyone assumes any game that was slated for after July is in that realm where it's going to potentially be pushed into 2022. So most of those games we're not even considering until they get a real date, right? So I'm still somewhat hopeful that this year is going to deliver some really great games. I think that there's a chance that if any game feels like it actually could come out, there will be value in trying to like push it out and make sure it does get out, because those games are going to sell very well. People will be starving for games, and people still be like, a lot of people have bought these consoles now because of COVID or just because they want a new console, and they're going to want stuff to play. So if you can get it out, get it out. I think I'm hopeful for Breath of the Wild 2. That seems like something that like easily could slip into next year. But like if that does come out, it'll just be a massive, massive hit. Okay, from Donnie Reese, he asks, and this is one I'm glad that someone asked. what does the swirly emoji mean? So let's get the backstory for people who are listening or watching and don't know. So the swirly emoji was something that Jez Corden from Windows Central posted, saying, don't forget about Xbox Global Publishing, that they'll have stuff that's cool as well coming up. And then he posted the swirly emoji. And I have since found out what that means. And I am not going to tell you for a couple of reasons. One, I agree with Jez that like it's the kind of thing where there's no reason to spoil this one. It's not like correcting the sort of record or making sure people understand what's going on with Kojima. It's not like that. It's a little bit different. Also, Jez seems to have more information than I do. I just kind of know the premise and the code name and stuff. And so like coming out and again, just putting it out there, it's not going to serve a lot of purpose.
Wait, have you told me this one? What is this?
I haven't told you this one. I will when we're done. Yeah, I found out since the last episode. And then, but I will say, like, it is simpler than you're thinking. It's also like, it's not like, oh, I'm gonna like crack this code and find out like, oh, this is a sequel to another thing that I didn't know about, or something like. It is much simpler. Like the swirly emoji is indicative of something that is, when you find out, you're gonna be like, oh, it's okay, that makes sense. We were trying to like match it up with other images and see.
I mean, it looks like Sonic doing a spin dash to me.
Right, exactly, and I think you're going down the wrong path. Don't try to imagine what it looks like. I don't think that's going to help you too much.
Oh, well, then what else am I supposed to base it off of? It's a picture. Am I supposed to listen to what it's saying?
Hey, listen, go take this up with Jez. I don't know.
Don't base it off of what it looks like. What? Am I supposed to scratch and sniff?
Hey, you're going to find out, and you're going to be like, oh, okay, yeah, fair enough. From Nick Turbo, will we get to a point where most, if not all, new releases come out on subscription services like Game Pass on day one? What do you think?
Maybe we can, not for a while, right? I have to say because movies are doing that, but movies maybe will stop doing that soon, right?
Yep. Yes, maybe.
I mean, the percentages are going to increase for a bit until either all of a sudden everybody retreats. And we've seen it before where things that seem like they're absolutely going to be the future of this industry, people just retreat from it, like motion controls, like VR to an extent, like the toy-based, like Toys to Life, right? So maybe there will just be some big retreats that none of us have seen coming, but it just only seems to be growing right now. I don't know if it's going to ever be everything, but it'll get close.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, it's inevitable, right? Like, because we look at the way music and movies work. So it's like, why wouldn't games be the exact same way? I guess the difference is it's maybe a counterintuitive, but games are more expensive. And maybe part of that like makes people want to own them more and just say, I have them. They're part of my collection. Like, yeah, it cost me a lot of money, but now I know it's not going anywhere. It feels like, the impermanence of streaming solutions. Okay. I think that's okay for the gaming audience. I think a lot of gamers will still buy their stuff. But if the streaming solution works in the way that it's supposed to, not the stream, but like the subscription solution works in the way it's supposed to, it's going to attract a lot more people who traditionally weren't buying a lot of games each year, and they will never even consider buying a game ever again. And if developers really start catering to that audience, then yeah, I think most games probably will just come out on subscriptions in like 5 to 10 years. But in the meantime, we'll see how it goes. I think for the most part, it's going to work in the same way it did last generation for the next couple of years. Mike, there's some more questions but these are the ones I missed last week. I asked a couple of them. I think we could continue to save these for weeks where we have like lighter stuff and not as much to talk about.
Yeah, we did get one more super chat I want to throw in right now with
Please.
Terry Black asking, will the delayed Warner Brother games show up at their E3? What do you think about that?
I think so, right? I think they'll at least show something because they said that they were coming out this year, and yeah, sure, like you delay them into 2022 for the most part. I think the big games that they were talking about either were 2022 or don't even have a date yet. And yeah, okay. So that means it might make sense to not talk about them. I think the more likely thing is you give us a big update, give us confidence about these games, and say, hey, yeah, we delayed it. Here's why. We think you're really going to like it. Like, you don't miss the chance to do E3. I think they'll find a way to get those games out there for everybody.
Right. Hey, Brett has a fun question for you. Maybe this will cheer you up a bit. Jeff, what game franchise would you like to see revived? I have a few: Area 51, NBA Ballers, and Midnight Club. Man, I missed out on Midnight Club. Maybe with my newfound love of racing games with
Hmm.
Ridge Racer, I need to check that one out finally. I liked NBA Ballers though. No, wait, I liked NBA
NBA
Street.
Street, and that was going to be my
Yeah,
answer. NBA
I
Street
liked
Volume
NBA
2,
Street.
all-time great game. NBA Street Volume 3 was okay, but there was nothing wrong with that series. It never should have gone away, and I would totally be okay with EA bringing back NBA Street as like NBA Street Ultimate Team and making it that, like, if that's what it takes to like make it into a card collecting game where I have to like pay money to make my best team, just do it to me. I will accept that. And it'll be worth it. It'll be a deal with the devil, but I am willing to make that deal because I love that game so
I like
much.
it.
Having it online for everyone to play right now, I think there would be a lot of people who would be very into
I
that.
feel like I can answer this question for you. Like 1080p snowboarding.
1080p snowboarding, Mike? Really? I'm having a bad week and you're going to call it 1080p snowboarding? The P, that's
like
resolution. You didn't even took about a minute to
I
figure it out.
was thinking, what did I do wrong? Oh no! Look, I clearly associate that number.
Yes, 1080 snowboarding. You're right. Yes, absolutely. What? All right. No, I want to hear what else you
thank
think I
God
want back.
I'm an idiot. Oh man, I told you it's been a long time since my ginger ale has run out. It's all I'm gonna say. I mean, Metroidvania, Castlevania, right?
God,
That's what
yes,
you're
yes.
missing. And Wave Race. You liked Wave Race, right?
Yes. Yeah, those are my answers. Thank you, Mike. How about you?
What? Oh gosh, Ridge Racer now, right? Bring back
Yeah.
Ridge Racer. But
Yeah,
at
that'd
this
be great.
point, it actually has been a while, huh? But I mean, aside from that, I don't know, man. Most of my stuff is still. I mean, I would like to see another. Maybe now we can bring Mega Man X back instead of Mega Man Classic. And even I'm Mister like Mega Man Classic's better than Mega Man X, but it's been so long.
Yeah. All right. You know what? This one's from Schaefer. What should I have for dinner tonight?
I'm making tacos. That's my
Ooh.
plan.
I say go for it. It's Friday. Get that phone out, smash those buttons, order a pizza. Order a pizza, man. Do it.
I haven't actually done Friday pizza, but I've already thawed my ground meat, so I'm already devoted to
Yeah,
taco
yeah.
meat.
I mean, tacos. Look, it's not like we don't have to be one or the other. Like, yeah, it could be Taco Friday too. Like tacos are just as good. Yeah, man.
I'm so embarrassed about 1080p snowboard.
No, that's a classic already, right there. I'm very happy about that.
Daffy's gonna see
Steve-
this and like he's gonna
Steve-
really come after me now. He's like, I knew that guy was a twat or whatever.
Stephen Lamb in chat's like DLSS snowboarding. That's a good one. 140.
4K snowboarding.
Yeah, this YouTube thing when it was buffering our stream here used to be 144p snowboarding. I
What
can't
you
even say that
were.
right. Yeah. Oh God.
I did. What got me was you were like mad at me. I was like, what did I say wrong? I was like,
Uh-huh.
oh, did you like SSX? Actually, I forget. I thought it was 1080.
1080p snowboard. Very good. All right. So we got a lot of good questions for next time. Mike, do you have any games to talk about? Because I really don't have much. I was busy this week.
Nothing much. I mean, I'm still playing Final Fantasy 14 and Monster Hunter. I actually like got the what I think is the best gear I could reasonably get in Monster Hunter for my weapon. So like, I'm almost kind of done now until some new content comes out. Aside from like playing with my brother because he's still kind of working his way through things. But yeah, I put 55 hours into that game. Didn't see that coming. I really liked Monster Hunter. The new patch for Final Fantasy 14 came out. It's the first time that I've been like in the end game when the patch came out. So that's exciting, but I haven't been able to play it as much because before today, my internet was acting up. But tonight I'm going to be playing a lot more of that. I think I've given up on Bravely Default 2. It's kind of the big development.
Okay. I mean, I guess like final thoughts there. Like anything, like what was the thing that did you in?
It's nothing. It's fine. It just wasn't. Well, here's the issue, is that before I even started playing this, I had Dragon Quest VIII ready to go, and I've been making my way through that franchise. I went to the trouble of home brewing my 3DS and putting on the orchestrated music patch for that game so that I would have like better music in there. And I was excited to do it, but I knew that Bravely Default 2 was coming out, and I was like, oh, I shouldn't start this when Bravely Default 2 is coming out, so I'll play Bravely Default 2 first. And I got like maybe 15 hours into it, and I want to play Dragon Quest VIII instead. I just do. Like, there's nothing super wrong with Bravely Default 2. There's nothing super right about it either. It's nothing about it is very exciting to me right now. The combat system is fine. The job system is good, but it's all pretty similar. The characters aren't as good as in the last few games. I think it looks nice, but yeah, I'm not. I'm like, why? I don't have to play this game. It's okay. I could go play Dragon Quest VIII if that is what I'd
Right.
rather do. And I've just started Dragon Quest VIII, so I don't have any big thoughts there. Except it's nice. Looks real nice. So I'll be excited to play more of that. Maybe someday I'll get back to Bravely Default 2. I don't know, but there are so many JRPGs in my backlog that I want to play, right? I still want to still need to play the Lunar games is a big one. I kind of want to try out Shining Force 2 soon here. Ooh. So there's a lot of stuff I have to do.
I always had a hankering to like something about the Shining Force games looked interesting to me. I think there was a magazine ad for one of them which that had just had like a ton of like chibi characters on it fighting on a battlefield, and it just looked like my jam. And this is before I like had tried any like game like that. That's like a strategy RPG, right? Is that?
Yeah, it's almost closer to Fire Emblem, and it's just something I really completely missed out on during my early days of the Genesis. And looking into like, I've been watching a lot of videos about the Genesis. I had a big Genesis kick there. Like, what are the best Genesis games? And Shining Force 2 is always brought up, and I'm like, maybe I should play that.
Okay, yeah, definitely. Yeah, when you get a chance to do that, let me know. I'll be interested to hear about it. All right, we're losing frames again, Mike, so we should just wrap this up. To tell people where they can find you on the internet.
You can find me on Twitter at Tolkoto, TOLKOTO. Unless you're an industry veteran who wants to yell at me, please leave me alone. I'm fragile. Also, check out 90s Disney, my 90s Disney podcast at 90sdisney.com.
I'm Jeff Grubb on Twitter. My other podcast is How Games Make Money. You can check that out. I'll be putting a new episode up, I think probably early next week. It'll be tied in with an announcement, I think. A cool announcement, like a cool news thing will be happening. And I talk to the people, and I'll be able to put that out at the same time. I think that'll be cool. And then join the Discord, everybody. Links in the chat, links in the description for both the YouTube video and the podcast. Check that out and come hang out with us. I really appreciate that. Okay, let's go. Hey, Mike, let's go to the weekend. Let's just unplug a little bit. Let's
relax.
We're gonna do next week better. We're gonna do better, everybody. And then
you're gonna do better. I did fine.
I'm gonna do better. I'm gonna be a better man next week, and we're gonna see if that makes any difference to my internet. All right. All right, everybody. Thanks for listening. We're gonna get out of here. Have a good one. Take care of yourself. Until next one. Goodbye.
Bye.